Good morning, everyone. Oh, I'm not live yet. Yep. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to another episode of XOT Talk Show. Check if I'm alive. Okay, today I'm going to talk random things. Well, every day is random things, but today I'm going to talk about. Uh, I'm going to talk about YouTube things. And okay, let's go to the website, xali.org. Okay, then go to Wordy English. Okay, and the Wordy English website is about literature, about vocabulary, about writing, about linguistics, about things related to that. And also, you see, there's a language, a artificial language called lojban. It's an artificial language that is based on logic. Now, what does it? You see, we have English, French, Spanish, Chinese, Japanese, Korean, Arabic, and so on. Those are called natural languages. That's our human language. Now, but there is also one thing called artificial language, or today it's called constructed language. Now, these are not natural languages. They are like created, invented by people. So why do you create artificial languages? There are actually quite a lot of them, more than 10. For example, you probably have heard of Klingon. It's from the Star Trek show. Klingon. That's an artificial language, and in Tolkien's novels, the Two Towers, the Hobbit, um, the ring. One ring to rule them all. You also have constructed language. Constructed languages for the elves and so on. But so those are two. That's two examples of constructed language, or used to be called just artificial languages. Now those languages are created obviously for the purpose for the novels. So you have a uh, language of a particular race. The dwarfs or the elves or the monsters or aliens. Klingon. But it's more than that. Okay, so those are artificial. Those are created in the novels, in fiction. In science fiction in particular. But however, there are many other artificial languages, and for several purposes. One of the reason people create artificial language is that for example, in most natural languages, for example, English, French, Chinese, Japanese, Korean, German, they are extremely complex. You have so many exceptions and idioms. I mean, it's not regular. Like, if you have ever tried to learn a foreign language, a language that's not your first language, you will notice you'll keep asking, why do they do it this way? There's so many exceptions, like thousands, 10,000s. Like, for example, Chinese, the whole language is exceptions. Like, there's no, regularity. So, um, so that is one reason people create artificial languages or constructed languages. So one of the reasons is that they create a language so that is extremely regular, so that it's extremely easy to learn. And that's one reason. The best example of this type is uh, um, um, does anyone know? Hi guys. Hi Danielle. Hi Break the Loop, and hi Danielle. Hi Danielle. By the way, I think you wrote to me several emails. I responded to one, but you said you didn't receive it. Um, but anyway, let me go back to the languages. Yeah, exactly. So one of the reasons to create an artificial language is to so that it is simpler and regular. It's easy to learn, and most and many of them uh, they hope it to become a lingua franca, meaning the universal language. So for example, in America, Americans, German, Europe, Chinese, African, or Middle East, they all can use this simple language as a international language. You have a vision of world unity. So the most famous one for that purpose is Esperanto. Yeah, that's the one. Let me type it. Okay, and the artificial languages, they have many interesting characteristics. If you study linguistics, let me magnify. Actually, among all, why is it so slow? Shit. So among all artificial languages, Esperanto is probably the most popular. Okay, among all, there are like tens of artificial languages. So you can read about it here. It's Esperanto is the most widely spoken constructed international auxiliary language. They changed the terms these days, so it wasn't. It's just a constructed language. So anyway, Esperanto is one of them. So it's very regular, and it's intended to be one language for everyone, for all, for the international um, communication. But typically they never catch on, just for many reasons. They People just don't want to learn artificial language, although it's extremely simple. I mean, when you learn artificial language, it's like 10 or 5 times simpler. It takes 10 or 5 times less time to learn it. So that's about artificial language. So what are the so okay so let's go back. So go to my page. So lojban is another artificial language. I have a tutorial here. I wrote this tutorial like back in 2004. I was learning lojban. Now what does lojban? Okay, lojban is an artificial language. So what is what is it about? It's based on logic. uh, you know Predicate logic. It's just logic. So that the idea of this language, the primary idea is that it's of course, first of all, it's very regular and simple, just like Esperanto. But the the highlight of lojban is that it's based on logic. So that the idea is that it allows you to express ideas in the most logical way possible. And um, also, if you study linguistics, among in linguistics, there's the idea that maybe your language controls what is possible in your thoughts. Your language at least influence your thoughts. That's very famous. You know, uh, Proposition called Sapir-Whorf theorem, something like that. Let's find it. Let's search for it. Hypothesis. There it is. Okay, now these days it's called, I guess it's called linguistic relativity. Yeah, Sapir-Whorf hypothesis. Okay, basically it says that there's a strong form and weak form. The strong form says, the language, what you can possibly think is controlled by your language. And the weak form is that your language, whatever your language, what language you speak, influences your thought. So you can look into that. There's interesting ties to programming languages. You see, okay, let me finish talking about constructed language first. So there are many types, right? There's and the purpose of lojban is it's based on logic, and it 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 also ties to the Sapir-Whorf hypothesis, because people thought if you create a language, lojban that's based on logic, then you can think the most possible, all the possible thoughts with this language, so that you can express it, and there's no ambiguity. There is everything is regular, and it's logical. So there is that, Lojban tutorial. You might check out my tutorial. It's just for interesting. I mean, if you are interested in linguistics, you might study it. But as for practicality, it's basically zero. Any of these, even, I mean, including Esperanto, you know. However, if you study Lojban, for example, you will learn many aspects of languages, natural languages. You can see uh, many aspects, flaws or problems, or what does grammar means, things like that. You will learn quite a few things. Okay, so constructed language, there are many, there are many of them. If you go to Wikipedia, you can click on constructed language. They'll show there's a list of them. And Esperanto is the most popular. Lojban is based on logic. Lojban is actually the a branch of the another language called Loglang, 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 Loglang. Now, Loglang is the first logical language. However, because there's a copyright fight among the community, therefore Lojban is branched off, and basically Logland kind of just died off, because people, the guy who tried to make it proprietary, so it's kind of died off. So Lojban is more popular. So anyway, constructed languages. Now, actually, this interesting ties to programming languages, because in programming languages, it's kind of funny, in programming languages, you can see that most people do not like regular syntax. It's quite funny. So it's opposite from, natural languages, human languages. So in computer languages, what language what language has simple syntax? For example, Lisp, or Mathematica, or APL, uh, or maybe assembly if you count assembly. Okay, so anyway, these has very regular and, almost 100% regular syntax. So you don't have to learn, what is the syntax for for loop, what is the syntax for while loop, what is the syntax for statement, or function definition is another syntax, or you have directives, kind of something called directives, and you have expressions. Okay, expressions need semicolon at the end, but not the statements. So you have all these syntax soup. You know, most of them are based on C. So that's why I say in another video, C is the granddaddy of everything that is wrong in programming industry. So anyway, so in computer languages, they are almost all of them, at least the popular industrial languages, they all have syntax soup. I mean, their syntax, there is no one principle. Basically, yeah, there is no one principle or grammar, or systematic grammar that creates them. So where does their syntax grammar come from? It just came from happenstance, just by habit. Just, you okay, so you have C, then C created, you have C created Perl, C shell, Java, C plus plus, C sharp, JavaScript, and so on. That's why I say C is the granddaddy of everything wrong that is in the computing industry. Why do they do that? Why do people all use C syntax? Because it's popular. And why is C popular? Because I'm the fastest. They don't care about well designed, extensibility, quality of design, quality of the thing. They don't care any of that. So just make it extremely fast and simplistic, like stupidly simple. So that's my opinion. Okay, I mean it is a opinion. So C. So anyway, so most languages we use in industry is all based on they don't have a simple syntax. It's case by case. There's no general rule to describe them. However, there are some exceptions. Lisp is one of the exceptions. Lisp family. Um, okay, so the interesting thing is that I mean it's curious. I mean, wouldn't it be great if you have a so simple language that you don't have to learn each statement, each expression, what's the syntax is just the same thing, would that be great? Now, there's one thing I want to mention. In Lisp, many people don't like Lisp syntax, obviously, because there's too many nested parentheses. You know, if you ask Lisp people, they say, "Oh, I don't see it." You just get used to it. Actually, it is a good criticism. Actually, too many nested parentheses is a problem. It is actually a problem because when you have too many nested parentheses, you cannot count. You can. On the other hand, if you look at C code or JavaScript, because they are so different, in each place, you can immediately determine, which is what, which part is what. Now, however, this is important. However, it is not necessary that 100% systematic regular syntax uh, will require will become a certain uniform look like Lisp. That's a problem. So for example, Mathematica is an example. It's an extremely simple regular syntax, yet the code looks so different. Okay, let me show you a quick example. um, Xali info. Let's go to Xali info. Let's go to Xali info Mathematica. Okay, let's just go to Xali info. So magnify a bit. I'm going to programming blog. On the left panel, you can see on Lisp, and well, let's just search for Xali. I want to show this quickly because I got a lot of things to talk about. By the way, keep the comments coming. I'll answer them. Oh, the stream turns off for a second from time to time. Is that the stream turns off for a second from time to time? That is a problem. Maybe because okay, maybe this way it won't. Let's try it that way for a while. Okay, I think I know why. Maybe it's because these oh yeah, it's because these uh ad blocker that's creating that thing, I think. Google, the extreme evil empire, it do everything it can to well, anyway, so Mathematica versus Lisp syntax. Anyway, so there's Mathematica. Well, I want to show you. Let's just go here. Okay, so here, this page, I have a whole bunch of Mathematica example. You can see Wolfram language Mathematica. And that's their logo for Mathematica version 2 in 1990s. So you see this is the Mathematica notebook. A notebook is basically the IDE of Mathematica. But you don't, I mean, you can actually do it in Emacs. There used to be, well, anyway, let's not go there. So anyway, so what I'm saying is that Mathematica, well, I talked about this subject in another video, Mathematica syntax. So just take my word for it. It's that it's extremely regular. I mean, the syntax, the grammar is systematic, regular. Yet, yet, it has variable forms that you don't see, just a bunch of nested parentheses. You don't. I mean, so when you look at mathematical code, it's not just like uniform, incomprehensible uniformity. Like everything is just nested. It's not like that. But however, if you want to, you can actually write your code in purely nested brackets if you want. Actually, I have an example here somewhere. Um Here, for example, it's kind of open image. So in this screen, you see three forms of Mathematica. Let me magnify. Three forms, but they are syntactically equivalent, meaning that you can press a key and one becomes the other. So the pure 100% nested form is the last one, full form. You can see it's, everything is just function name, square bracket, that's it. And inside that you can have function name, square bracket, and so on. But however, in general, most people write Mathematica in the first form here. You can see it has lots of syntactical equivalence. So let me get back to my topic. So what I'm saying is that most programming languages, their syntax is just a syntax soup. However, few people, I mean, including the elite hackers, I mean, usually they are idiots. They don't, nobody ever, think about or tell, or, say, hey, why don't we, shouldn't we have a regular syntax so that, so that idea simply is just not popular for some reason. Actually, why is that idea never come up? I don't know. I haven't thought about that. But anyway, so I have an article. Yeah, I wanna show you my articles. Um, so syntax soup, there it is, syntax soup. So you go to the syntax soup page, and so I have actually several articles describing the situation, formal definition of systematic grammar. That's what I'm talking about. So I'm trying to give a formal definition. And okay, this article is what I'm talking about. On constructed languages, computer languages, and their grammar complexity. So it's interesting that for natural human to human languages, people create artificial languages because, obviously it's so difficult to learn a new language because all the, exceptions. However, in computer languages, it seems like people do not, you know, raise the idea of a simple, regular language. So that's interesting. So I was talking about constructed languages, and let's get back to the previous parenthesis. Parenthetical speaking, I was actually talking about what I was talking about today, which is, I mean, the topic of today is supposed to be. So if you go to Wordy blog, Xa Talk Show, I kind of wrote some topic like index of things I might talk about today. Most of them is about YouTube actually. The incredibility of YouTube, the stuff going on YouTube, including like stupid internet things, including society. This one is a billion, million or 100 million billion error. Okay, so many interesting things. This guy, remember this guy Lopez? I have in my garage a Lamborghini. You wanna be like me? The key is knowledge. you know, it's a, and this is quite a story. I'm gonna, I might get into today. I don't know. And the story of Fat Francis, you may or may not know, because the thing happening on the internet is that on YouTube in particular is that there are like billions of videos. Okay, it's like this. I used to go to the library, physical library in the 90s every day, almost every day. So I go to libraries, several libraries, local libraries. I'm almost all familiar with them. Like I go there because I go there every day. I go there, sit there for a few hours. I looked, every aisle, every bookshelf. I kind of have looked. I know what kind of books are here. So once you visit library for a few years, you kind of get bored because you felt like I know everywhere. I know what the books there are. You kind of get bored until one day, maybe you have some subject. Let's say magic. Magic tricks. There are a lot of books about magic. They tell you, okay, for example, magic history. What kind of magics are there? Magic, the tricks exposed. For example, so there are many books, so until you actually have something in mind, so then you study, you go find the books, and it's like, oh my God, I never know all these books existed. So you got so many books you want to read. So it's like that. Internet is like that. On internet, they are all humanities, basically more than all humanities information on the internet. But every day you kind of get bored, because you just maybe you visit this site or that site or 4chan, or you get bored, like you don't know where to look, like you don't even maybe not interested because maybe you go to Hacker News, maybe you go to Slashdot, maybe you go to Reddit, but you still get bored, even though there are like thousands of different topics and subjects. But until like one day, you needed to like know something, or you found a gamer community or programmer community or keyboard, ergonomic keyboard community. It opens a door. Um, so it's like that. So internet is like that. So YouTube is like that. YouTube, there's just billions of videos. Like until then you run into this guy. Now this guy, his name is Fat Francis. What a incredible story. I mean, he's a YouTube star. Okay, now he's a millionaire. But however, he started more than 10 years ago. He's about to die. He like someone fat like him. Uh, he's just he got nothing to. I mean, he's about to die. So you might check up his story. Fat Francis, incredible. He's very abused by his parents, by his mom. I mean, physically, like violence. He could have he probably have been harmed physically, or he could have been killed. So he has and but now he's a YouTube star. Then he got a wife. Some girl just married him. Um, and stuff. Uh, there's him on Anita. So anyway, so if you have time, you can read my page or go to his YouTube channel. His nickname is also known as Francis or Boogie 2988. Boogie 2988. So incredible story, and so that's one of the story. I was going to okay, so it's back up one step. So I was going to do some Emacs stuff. I'm going to create a Unicode page. Let me show you Unicode page. That's another topic. Oh, okay. I'm 20 minutes. I've been talking for 30 minutes now. So if you go to xali.info, keyboard programming. Okay, scroll down, Unicode. Now uh, that's another rich topic. This you can the Unicode stuff in Unicode, that it contains all the words, languages. The written language. That's a great topic. You can study Unicode stuff for 10 years. So recently I did a Japanese page, which is old news. Japanese. But anyway, so what I want to say is that let me show you just some interesting things. Hieroglyph, the Egyptian hieroglyph. That's very interesting. And what's most interesting about they have these. And it turns out Microsoft censored these three characters, because if you are using Microsoft Windows, then these three characters does not show. Okay, so there's Egyptian hieroglyph, and there's linear B. Linear B is a ancient script that, so there's linear A and there's linear B. Linear A is never deciphered to this day, never understood, but linear B has been deciphered. So it's interesting. So anyway, I was going to talk about that. Um, so let's get back to, so I mean, so these things are linguistical things, and cuneiform is also very interesting. Why is it? Wait, something wrong here. It's supposed to. Oops. Hold on a second. Okay, so let's go to. Yeah, Unicode cuneiform. Wait, for some strange reason, it's what the fuck? I don't know what's going on there. I don't think it was. Anyway, so cuneiform is another interesting Asian script. So anyway, let's go back to let's see what we're gonna talk about for the rest of these talk show. So I was gonna do some Unicode pages and talk about it. I guess, and then we're gonna talk about, okay, story of Fat Francis. We already talked about that, and I was going to talk about some videos on the YouTube. Quite amazing videos. This guy, and they are connected because he interviewed the Fat Francis guys. But anyway, let me look at the comments and see what direction we're gonna go. So, which artificial language have I learned? I learned lojban, and that's it. I learned, basically, I know, lojban is pretty simple. I mean, all artificial languages are very simple. So I learned some lojban, and I have a tutorial. There's so many pages. Where's my lojban page anymore? Talk show. Okay, so yeah. Anyway, I've showed that before. I learned some lojban, and that's it. You can see your preview screen goes black for a second and then come back. I'm not sure what preview screen. Oh, how expensive in internet? Well, so I'm in California. I'm in San Francisco area. It's about like $60 a month. Where are you? Where are you at, Green Deck? So next question. These functions have stupid names: car, coder, set queue, and so on. If you don't like car and coder, write first and rest. What changes is the syntax? What do you mean? What changes is the syntax? Yeah, Lisp has car and coder because it has to do with the cons business. Yeah. So car is like the so how did it become car? It's I forgot. I don't remember. Hi, good morning, Diane. Diane Bridge, Bridger. Uh, Good morning, Mike. Good morning, splendid. Your internet cost $5? Really? Uh, Pay attention to logic, ignore syntax. Different languages have the same logic. That's not true. That's not true at all. So $5 is that in Morocco, if I remember correctly. Okay, I'm going to show you guys my dinner, my lunch or my dinner, whatever it is. This is today's dinner. I live a good life. Now this is some kind of jack or Mongolia or whatever they call it. Cheese, and this is garlic. This is chopstick, and so one piece of garlic that's delicious. And this is ham, and this is whole wheat bread. So I need to put it together and wait. Yeah, so that's ham. So I just went with my roommate and bought that. So that's going to be my, let's see, it's my lunch or breakfast or dinner. So right now it's 11:42 p.m. So it's close to midnight. But this is going to be my, well, I guess you can call it lunch. And I'm gonna drink this. This is almond milk or something like that. Non-dairy beverage. What is made of? Almond milk. I'm not sure what the fuck it is, but my roommate bought it and it seems he doesn't like it. So I'm gonna like it. I eat everything, anything. Is it edible? If it is, it's good for me. So let's see. Okay, so my video is like blocking out every few seconds. You are right. I don't know why. It's very annoying. Here's to good health and live 1,000 years. I need to get the video fixed. Why is it okay, let me refresh. Maybe that's what. Oh, Russia. Okay, so Russia. So okay, so elsewhere it's much cheaper then. Yeah, I heard that US internet is kind of screwed up because of regulations. No, it's not true. I mean, okay. It's not true to say all languages are based on logic. It's actually far from the truth. I mean, you need to study. Well, I don't. Well, maybe you know some. I mean, maybe you have studied logic, but basically, you have to study proof systems, proof theory, foundation of math to know about those subjects. It's not true at all uh, that languages are all alike semantically. Actually, they are far from alike. They are, there's a functional, most functional programming languages. Their basis is lambda calculus. Okay, and most other languages they have. I mean, in many of them, they don't have a basis. I mean, they just then, but later on, people create a name kind of, and say this is, the basis of imperative languages. So imperative languages, I mean, for example, what that means C, Perl, and JavaScript, that means, so what does imperative or imperative programming means? It means Uh, so yeah, in terms of basis, so what is a computer science basis for imperative programming? You could say it is based on um, what's the word? State. Yeah, state machine. Yeah, but but the thing is, just remember that people, I mean, there is state machine. Okay, it's not like, okay, people want to create a programming language. Okay, but there's a state machine which is kind of mathematical idea. Then they base their language on state machine. It's not like that. But rather, they just created languages. See, it's more almost like out of the blue. There's no mathematical foundational basis about it. They just you just you begin with programmer, electronics, resistors and stuff, and it start like that. There's no shape. You just create it. People just create it. Then you have CPU, you have chips, then you have assembly, machine languages, first. Then you have assembly, then you have things like Fortran, and so on. And well, from punch cards, actually in the beginning it's punch cards. Then it just evolved. So it's the programming languages, almost none of them is actually from a math foundation, math basis or logic. None of them. They just like come into being. Then afterwards, people ascribe them some kind of math foundation. So they say, people say most functional programming languages are based on lambda calculus. That's kind of true in some way, but it's not true in certain practical way. I mean, you know anyway. So yeah, so Danielle Langlois. So you wrote me several long messages. I replied one a couple of short replies, but basically I'm saying that I cannot reply to messages, emails. I try to avoid email. I cannot, because I've been writing blogs for over 20 years, so a lot of people know me. Like thousands people know me, and I have interacted with many of them, hundreds of them over the years. But I don't remember them. I don't like. I cannot possibly remember people, and also people tends to use handlers, pseudonyms on different platforms. Platforms come and go. You have Twitter, you have YouTube, you have China has several. Different countries have several. There's Facebook. There was Google Plus. There was Google Orchid. There was MySpace. They come and go. And there's also AOL chat. Remember those AOL chat, Yahoo chat. So all people and also in games like Second Life, they all use handlers. So um, that's very annoying. They all use they don't use uh, real names. So it's impossible. And also, one person may be this name on this network, but another name on different network. So that make it more severe. I mean, I cannot possibly remember even someone I may have talked to several times. So okay, so what I'm saying is that I kind of got distracted. So what am I saying? So that's one thing about names. The other thing is that people send me emails. I got emails from all the time from all over the world, and I cannot remember. I cannot spend time to respond to each. you know but for the past almost 20 years, every at least for the past 10 years, every day I spend 1 hour or 2 hours just to respond to people, on Twitter or on here and there, and some of them are private. So I would say, don't you know um, if possible, just do public, never private, because I don't want to spend time to private. Because I have, people, when you become, I'm not a star, right? I'm not a star, but many stars. But even for me, you have, a lot of people know you, and they kept, it tends to be the same question. Everyone you wants to ask you the same question, like what is the best keyboard? What's your opinion on this keyboard? Suppose some keyboard just came out. So if it's private, you have to I have to answer it 100 times. It may seem rude, people write to you privately, but you tell them, no, please, don't write me privately. It seems rude, but that's fact of life. So I used to, on my website, there used to be a discuss, like you can just post comment, and that is really great because whatever you say, especially on programming stuff, like I have, opinions on controversial programming stuff, right? For example, let's see. Um, and let's close this. Uh, on Lisp, let's go to syntax soup. On constructor, for example, this page, it's an opinion. So I used to have a discuss comments so people can reply. The good thing about that, that's really good because if you disagree or if you have some opinions about my article, you can post it there and you can be long or short if you want, or long. And if I do not have time to reply, I have like 6,000 HTML pages. So when I have comment, people are posting comments all over 6,000 HTML pages. So I cannot, so when I don't have time to answer your particular uh, point of view or criticism of my article or anything like that, if I don't have time, but other people who visit the page, they see it and they can reply. They can say, "This is a good, opinion. Sally is wrong." So they can do that and let all other people see. Yeah, so that's a great thing. But unfortunately, the discuss, they start to force ads, commercial ads, and their ads is very bad lurid. Like how to lose fat. You don't know this secret way to lose fat, or and usually with girls in skinny in bikini or something look like a dick. Like eat this fruit. Californians don't want, people, major corporations don't want you to know, eat this fruit and that looks like a dick or something. So they have, like the gossip trash magazine ads. So discuss, they force that ads into your page unless you pay something like $10 a month. So I removed it. So that's the situation. So now I don't actually have a way for you, if you want to reply, you can post it to Reddit. But also some of the topic, for example, on Lisp, or my flames about many popular things, for example, tech, like tech. I have been arguing with programmers, the Lispers or whatever in the community for over 10 years, for over 20 years. So I kind of I have seen all sort of replies. I have seen all sort of counter arguments. So, and I'm getting old. I'm 50 old, and I live in poverty. So at this point, I don't have a urge. I don't feel like I don't have urge to even respond because I've seen, it's the same thing repeated for 10 years. I've seen it. It's the same, almost always same thing. Um, so so that is about how the situation. I so many of the topic. Um, yeah, I've been there. But that does not necessarily mean your idea is no good, or occasionally it happens that some people, yeah, there are few people, and also I know some people who comment on my blog often. There are few people, they they are really expert at what they are talking about. And when I have when I have an article on something, or when sometimes I have a question, and they answer it right exactly to what I want, my question exactly. It's so there are some comments that are really good, so I miss those. Um, so I'm thinking, I'm going to put the discuss back, or I'm thinking, pay them $10 a month or something like that. Yeah. So back to uh, so yeah. So thank you for your emails. I'm gonna go through them, and your long, very long emails. So I think that's it for today. Unless you guys have any other questions. I was going to talk about YouTube, but okay, but then I began with constructed languages, and that kind of took half an hour. So let's go back to YouTube. Yeah, that's a very interesting story. This Lopez guy, uh, and yeah, maybe we'll talk about that another day. Let's see what else. Okay, so I think that's it for today. Thank you guys for watching. If you like my videos, you can go to my Patreon, and it's obvious. Let's go to my blog, Hacker Code. So I have Patreon, Amazon, PayPal, Bitcoin. To do that, and support my videos. So that's it for today. So thank you for coming. I'll see you guys next time, and I'm going to eat my lunch. Bye.